I said, empty your mind. Be formless, shapeless, like water.
Test, 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 1, 2. Testing, 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 1, 2. Testing, 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 1, 2. Test, 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 1, 2.
Excuse me. Hello? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Okay. Hello? Hello, hello, hello. Good evening. My name's Janet Williams. Thanks for coming to Cleveland Ward 1 Council, to the council forum that we're having this evening. Right now, I would like to introduce Pastor Quincy. Yeah. And then after that, we're going to have Cheryl Murray sing the National Negro Anthem. And then we will have Lee from the League of Women Voters.
Test. Good afternoon. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone. Welcome home. You are in the William E. Sanders Family Life Center. We call it the Sanders Center. It is an outreach from Leroy Baptist Church. I am James Quincy, the pastor of Leroy Baptist Church for the past 12 years. Yeah, 2 weeks ago was my anniversary, so you can clap it up if you want to. But I'm also the executive director of the Family Life Center, which is here, where you are. And this center is a neutral place. Come here, Miss Hardy. You walking right in front of me while I'm talking and stuff, Lord Jesus. But this place is a neutral place. It is a community place. All kinds of organizations in the community use this facility. We rent it out to families and friends. Someone asked me about rentals today. This is Ms. Hardy Page. Ms. Hardy Page does everything, and I just walk out and look like smile happy, like I ain't do nothing. So if you want to know about renting the space, you can talk to Ms. Hardy. You can go ahead, Ms. Hardy. But give Ms. Hardy a hand for all the great work she does. So anyway, I just wanted to say welcome to your home here in the community. Welcome to the William E. Sanders Family Life Center, Leroy Baptist Church. I want to let you know there are 2 restrooms over on this side. There's a male restroom and a female restroom, and use them at your leisure. They have brought some wonderful refreshments that you can have in the back. They have some salmon cakes. I would advise you not to eat the salmon cakes. I would advise you not to eat it. I told them that after this is over, I'm going to clean up. So any salmon cakes that's left over, I'm taking home. So if y'all feel like y'all want to leave them alone, please feel free, and I will take them home, have them for breakfast, lunch, and dinner for as many days as I can. But anyway, welcome, everybody. Glad to have you all here. Glad to be here with you.
Thank you, Pastor Quincy. And next, we're going to have Cheryl Murray.
Thank you. Can we stand, please? Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring, ring with the harmonies of liberty. loud as the rolling seas. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising soon of a new day begun. Let us march on till victory is won.
Okay, next we have League of Women Voters. And will the candidates please come forward?
Good evening, Ward 1 residents. My name is Lee Tucker, and I'm the chair of the Cleveland chapter of the League of Women Voters of Greater Cleveland. The League of Women Voters was formed in 1920, and the League of Women Voters, specifically of Cleveland, was formed in April of 1920, directly after the disbanding of the Cuyahoga County Women's Suffrage Party of Greater Cleveland. The League of Women Voters has been around for over 100 years. We're a nonpartisan organization of activist grassroots organization that believes voters should play a critical role in democracy. As part of this critical role in democracy, we want to make sure that our voters are informed. And part of this informing the residents and the electorate is to ask questions of the candidates to see what they can do for you and how they can help you make your community a better place to live. We are partnering with COSARO, with Janet, as she already stated, to host this Ward 1 candidate forum. We'll have voter registration located at the front of the building if you are not registered to vote. We have Vote 411, where you can look up information of how to register to vote, as well as additional voter information. And of course, you can go to the League of Women Voters or Board of Elections website to find out additional information. The primary is going to be held on Tuesday, September the 9th, and the general election, of course, is Tuesday, November 4th. We hope to see you at both times to make sure that you have your voice heard. So I'm going to turn it back over to Janet so that she can introduce the moderators.
All right, so in choosing the moderators and other people that are part of the committee, we went across the whole ward. And I say that that's important because Ward 1 has 5 communities. Lee Harvard is one that we hear about all the time. There's Lee Miles, there's Lee Seville, there's Miles Heights, and also Mount Pleasant. So we want everybody to be part of this particular event because that's how we come together to make our decisions. So we have Veronica Thornton, who is from Mount Pleasant, correct? Okay, and we have Don McGee, who represents Miles Heights, all right? And then we have Larry Patterson, who's a timer, along with Bernita Thomas. Larry is from Lee Harvard. Bernita is from Lee Miles. And then we will be collecting cards as you write them down, questions that you may have. We will filter them just to make sure that they're not duplicates. okay, from the questions that are being answered. And I'm looking for who it was that I wanted to collect the cards. Where we go? Okay. Shelley will collect cards? Okay. Okay. All right, so if you, that's what I was looking for. Okay, so if you have a card, raise your hand, they will collect your card. They'll bring them over. We will sort them to make sure they're not duplicates. And then we will get them to the moderators. So I'm going to just ask that the people that are here that are on the committee form the questions. Please stand, and then we're going to get on with this. Committee members, there we go. There's Martha Brown. Okay. And you're the only one here? No. Other people. Eric, there he is. Okay. All righty. Myself, and I know Andre White's children, one of his kids is having a birthday celebration. So with that, I'm going to pass it over to Don McGee.
Welcome, everyone. We look forward to having a great evening. My name is Don McGee. I'm the Executive Director of the Miles Heights Development Corporation, servicing the Lisaville neighborhood of Ward 1. We're going to go through a few housekeeping things that we need to explain how tonight is going to go so everybody can follow along and participate. So I'll pass it to Ms. Veronica.
Hello and good evening. Thank you all for coming out and joining us for this Ward 1 Council Candidate Forum. There will be 3 candidates today. I'm Veronica Thornton, as I said, but most people call me Miss V. And of course, you've met Don, and we will be your moderators for this evening's forum. Each candidate will have a minute to a minute and a half for an opening statement and a minute to answer the questions as they come forward.
Today's candidates for City Council will be asked a series of questions to help the residents of Ward 1 to understand what the candidates would do if elected. Some questions have been submitted in advance by the residents of Ward 1, and the remainder of the questions will be submitted by the audience.
Questions from the audience are to be written on the index cards that were passed out when you came in. As well, you can give them to, we have volunteers in the audience who will be collecting them. They'll be sorted out, as Ms. Janet explained, to make sure we don't have any duplicates. And due to time restraints, we may not be able to ask every question submitted, but please stick around and see if those candidates are able to maybe address your questions after the forum. And then just a couple of more things. Please turn off your cell phones or put them on vibrate. That is important. We want to be able to focus and hear what the candidates have to say. We also expect our audience to give each speaker an opportunity to be heard. So please hold on to your applause until the end of the evening. We will ask the audience also to avoid expressions of support or opposition to any candidate during this presentation, time, or answers to questions. We are nonpartisan here. Everybody gets a chance to express their voice. There is no campaign literature allowed in the forum room.
As a final quick reminder, this is a forum and not a debate. So council candidates, please direct all questions to the audience and not your fellow candidates. The candidates will have 1 minute to answer questions, and the time will be monitored and strictly enforced by our 2 timekeepers who we met. The timekeepers will hold up a card to give a 30-second and 15-second warning. When time is called, the timekeepers will hold up a bright red card to notify you that your time has expired. When time has been called, we let you finish your sentence, but we also reserve the right to use the mute button. We probably won't do that, but please let's just try to stick to a time format. Also, we had a few developments before we start recently. There are 5 candidates running for the council position in Ward 1. As you can see, we have 3 of them here right now, but we do want you to know that all candidates were invited. As such, one of them sent a statement that I will read to you briefly. It is from Lisa Jones Dollar, and she says, "Good evening. I want to begin by offering my sincere thanks to the League of Women Voters, Kosovo, and every Ward 1 resident here tonight for participating in this important civic dialogue. While I deeply regret not being able to join you in person, I am grateful for the opportunity to share this message with you and remain fully committed to the conversation we're having tonight and every day in our community. My name is Lisa Jones Dollar, and I am running to serve as your next Cleveland City Council representative for Ward 1 because I believe in the power of responsive, compassionate, and effective leadership. Our ward deserves more than lip service. We deserve results. We deserve equity, and we deserve a representative who shows up, listens closely, and fights for the resources and respect this community has long earned. As a lifelong Clevelander and proud Ward 1 resident, I understand both the strengths and the struggles of our neighborhoods. I've seen firsthand how families have been left out of decisions that impact their lives. I've watched opportunities pass us by. That's why I'm stepping forward, not as a politician, but as a neighbor, a problem solver, and a woman of action. My campaign is rooted in 3 core commitments: safe streets and thriving youth. Every resident deserves to feel safe in their home, and every child deserves a path forward. Number 2, economic development and with equity. I will fight for more jobs, better city services, and meaningful investment in our business corridors and housing. And number 3, accountability and access. City Hall should work for the people. I will hold regular community meetings and maintain an open door policy to ensure your voice is always heard. This campaign is about us. It's about creating a Ward 1 that works for everyone, from our seniors to our young people, from homeowners to renters, from longtime residents to neighbors. I am not here to be the loudest voice. I am here to be the most consistent, committed, and collaborative voice for all of Ward 1. I invite you to learn more about my platform and my passion at lisadollar4ward1.com. And you can also reach her directly, if you have a pen, at $4ward1@gmail.com, or by phone at 216-624-1220. I welcome your ideas, your concerns, and your partnership. Thank you for your time and your continued belief in what Ward 1 can become. When we lead with purpose, act with courage, and work together. With deep respect, Lisa Jones Dollar. So she will not be here tonight, and that is the only statement we have from. Okay. Is that better? Everybody can hear me now? Sorry, after I read that long letter. Yes, but that is from the candidate Lisa Jones Dollar, and she is the only candidate who is not here that submitted a statement to be read tonight.
As you also see, Councilman Joan Jones is not here. He was not able to be here. I'm sure he sends his sincere gratitude for the invitation, and we look forward to hearing from him at a later date. Still here?
Just so,
Everybody here?
can you hear me, Miss B?
I can hear you. Can you
Okay,
hear me?
yes. Well,
Okay.
I was instructed to hold the mic up like this so
Okay.
everybody can hear.
Gotcha. Ditto.
All right. So candidates, thank you for your patience. Are we going to, sorry, one moment.
So now, after the moderators have introduced the rules, set the stage, it's now time for the candidates to do a 2-minute introduction statement. After each candidate does their introductory statement, we're going to go in alphabetical order, then randomly the audience questions will be given to each of the candidates, and the candidates will rotate through the answers. Each candidate will answer the same set of questions. Unless someone has a specific question for one of the candidates, then that candidate will be asked that specific question. So we will start with Mr. Bridges. I'm sorry, no. Ms. Brent is first. Sorry, Ms. Brent.
Thank you, everyone. My name is Juanita O. Brent. I just happen to also be a state representative right now. Been serving this part of Ward 1 as well as 9 other cities for the past 7 years. Outside of that, I've been a lifelong Cleveland Ward 1 resident right on Glendale. No matter if it's my first job at the Harvard Community Service Center or serving on the Board of Trustees at the Harvard Community Service Center, my second job at Walgreens, and just walking through this community, I just know that I have been very intentional about being here all of my life. There's a lot of places I could go, but being in Cleveland, particularly in this community, is my heart's desire. When I looked at deciding to come run for Cleveland City Council, I talked to the people. I did a lot of talking to people, and people were like, why did you wait so late to get in the races? Because I wanted to talk to the people. I didn't want to just jump into a race because of something, and these are 3 things that I kept hearing from people when in the community: a clean, safe, and connected Cleveland. And I keep it very simple because when we talk about clean, people, no matter if you're talking about your house being clean or the street being clean or improving the houses or the business quality, people want that clean. Safety, no matter if it's the fireworks that you hear, that could also sound like gunshots. We want to be connected to our police. We want to have a method to make sure everybody feels safe and secure within our community. And connected is more than just having town hall meetings, which I just had one on July the 10th at the Harvard Community Service Center, but it's also letting people know what services are available through the city and what does that mean to be connected with all the city services within itself. It's so important that we are working together to work like a fist and not a bunch of fingers. There's going to be a lot of conversation about what Cleveland needs, but we know what's best. And so I'm looking here to be able to be a servant and to be able to make sure that we are all enjoying a Cleveland that's clean, safe, and connected. My name is Juanita Brent. Thank you.
Good afternoon, my neighbors of Ward 1. I'm a 62-year resident of this ward. So I've seen it change from Ward 13 to what it is today. I'm running for one primary reason. I want to be connected. I want us to reconnect as neighbors, I canvassed this ward 3.5 times this year. I listened to people. I didn't talk to them, I listened to them. They feel left out. Yes, we do need business development in this ward, but we need good business development. We need things well beyond gas stations and bars. We need safety in this community. Everybody should feel safe. I have a passion towards the safety of women. You should feel safe in your home, you should feel safe in your jobs, and you should feel safe on the streets. I want you to understand something. My name is Alwyn Bridges. I come from a servant family. I come from a servant background. Thank you.
Mr. Crosby?
My name is Mark Crosby. I've been living here since 1992. We raised 6 kids in this area. 4 of them went to Kennedy, 2 went to private school. My wife is Jana in the audience here. We both ran a nonprofit for 10 years, as well as being able to be both master business students, as well as nonprofit management master degree people. We service the reentry, we service families, we own the child care center in Lorraine, and the things that we most put emphasis on is family. I come from a family, I was raised in the Cedar area, moved on Wade Park. I've been in and out of here since '65, since my oldest sister moved over here. I had mentors over here. I had mentors down the way. My problem with Ward 1 right now, we don't have mentors. We don't think about the things that we have to represent to the children. I have a problem with families that's not connected to the community to get the things that the children need here, as well as recreation. And then I have a big issue with the violence and the drug dealing, et cetera, that's going on in the community that keeps a lot of us uncomfortable and worrying about what's going on in the city and also on our streets. I love Ward 1, I've been in love with Ward 1. I had a lot of mentors before I went to the military in '73 that gave me a lot of substance. A lot of them are gone. Unfortunately, a lot of them moved out. But this is my home. I'm going to be here. We've been here since 1992, and I love this place. Thank you so much.
All right, are we ready? Candidates, are you ready to go? You ready for the questions?
Okay, so I have your first question. Transparency is important to the community, including the community block grant funds and casino funds. How will you ensure transparency and keep the community informed? Who would like to go first?
Let's start with alphabetical order again, and then we're going to rotate through the rest.
Thank you, Juanita O. Brent. Those funds are just very important. If you even see what I do now as a state representative when I send out newsletters, when I allocate money, I send that out in newsletters, I send that out in emails. That's already has been my style of how. Just got the money from the PUCO, which is our Public Utilities Commission, for our hazmat training for our area. Anytime I bring money home, I'm letting people know. I'm not sugarcoating it. You need to know what I'm fighting for, and that should be publicly known, no matter if it's sending out with a robocall, no matter if it's sending out through a text message or email. Communication should come easy. That should be the last thing, because most of us are just trying to survive to be in our community. You should not have to fight to try to find out where that money is going when I make those decisions.
Mr. Bridges?
Here's my simple answer for you. I'm an accountant by training and education. I served as Associate Dean of Finance and Administration at Meharry Medical College. Everybody in here receives a bank statement. Everybody. I don't care if you have a savings account, checking account. You need to know what your CBD dollars are. You need to know what your casino dollars are. That should be posted in a newsletter. It should be shared with you in community meetings. Not only how much they are, what they are spent on. Currently, we don't have that. We do not get that here. I believe in full transparency. Full transparency means if you ask, I will tell. If I don't know, I will tell you I don't know. But you need to know it's your money. It's not my money. It's yours. Thank you.
Everything that comes into this community should always be shared with the opinion of the community itself. First thing, I'd look forward to jobs or business development to make sure that the dollars stay here, that the participants shop here, and also be able to respect the situation as to how we spend the dollars and share with the political involvement as well as the decisions that we make as far as political leaders. But the community has to be on top of that, and they have to come in with the political situation to make sure the decisions are made fairly.
All right, thank you. We're going to start with Mr. Bridges on this question. This is a good one. What will be your priority on day one if you're elected?
Day one, priority. First off, I need to understand and meet every other council member that I'm going to serve with. That's priority number one. Priority number two is to start to arrange important and significant meetings with people in City Hall. That means your city services director, your finance director, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, and so on. Tantamount to all of that, I need to be in touch with everybody in this room. I'm not going to change what I've said when I walk this ward. You're my neighbors. I don't care if you live in Mount Pleasant, where I grew up early. I don't care if you live in Lisaville, excuse me. You are my neighbor, and I want to stay in touch with you. I will answer and return your phone calls, and I will also have an executive assistant who's responsive. And tantamount to it all, I will be present. A leader is present. He or she must be present for you.
Mr. Crosby.
Wait a minute.
Yes.
Before we move on, can we please have the audience hold their applause until the end so that we can get through the questions? Thank you.
The first thing I would like to do is to form as many street club representation as I could. to make sure that every resident know who their street club resident or leadership is, so that we can bring everything together so everybody be on the same frame of mind. That's the first thing I would do. Before we talking about political resources or dollars moving around, we need to make sure that the community is in agreement with the political decisions.
What I'll do on day one is basically have some reintroductions. You might have known me as your state representative, but now I want you to get to know me as your councilwoman. And that means going to all the different parts of the community, and then simultaneously, while I'm doing those little meet and greets as your councilwoman, and then also making sure I'm simultaneously meeting up with our mayor, as well as our directors, our commanders, and figuring out how we can make sure that is set on the books, of knowing that from day one that everyone's going to have access to that information to them from day one. Also, last but not least, we got to get back to having our street clubs. One of the first ways that I got involved in our community is being part of my street club, and that was a joy of really just getting connected with my neighbors. We got to bring those back. So all of those things on day one, there's not one thing on day one. Is just a multitude of things that we have to do on day one of working like a fist, of being safe, clean, and connected within our community.
Thank you, candidates, for those lovely answers. We're going to go on to the next question. Now, most people think they know, but can each of you explain to us what are the responsibilities of a council person?
Starting with Mr. Crosby.
Yeah, I think the first thing is with the council person is to make sure that he's representing the city and the people itself. And also making sure that legislation is going to be something that everybody can benefit from, not a personal thing as to where he or she wants to direct it. So that would be one of the first things that I would think would be the most powerful thing getting in office, to make sure that the community understand what I'm trying to do.
Representative Brent.
Thank you so much. So what a city council person does is that they make the laws here within our community. That's the one thing. They make sure there's a balanced budget when it comes to representing our needs. Those are the two main things that they do, and they represent the geographical area. Now, there's a lot of other things that go into being a council person, like being kind to people, picking up your phone, having proper communication, but the main thing is making sure you're a legislator, and making sure you're a legislator that is going to help with the quality of life for those who you represent here within the community, and making those financial decisions for the community. But most of the time, the things that are troubling for folks is not the things that's written in the rules. Is making sure that somebody shows up when the street of Harvard is blocked off, and you have a person who said, well, I don't want to come even though the street is blocked off because I want to be in the bed with my spouse. Or, you know, you have community meetings that are scheduled and they cancel it because they want to go on vacation. Those are the things that are not always talked about. Thank you.
My turn, I guess.
Yes, sir.
The responsibilities of a Cleveland City Councilman are spelled out in the city ordinances, and I highly recommend that everybody read the city ordinances. You have two primary responsibilities. One, to attend the body of the whole, which meets on every Monday at 7 o'clock, and committee meetings. That's your primary responsibility. Under that, you have responsibility to vote on ordinances to pass laws or ordinances in the city of Cleveland. You should also be responsive and be present for your ward. A lot of people are under the impression or function like a councilman is a mini mayor, as in M-I-N-I. A councilman is not a mini mayor. He or she is a legislator. You have people in city council, such as your attorneys, who write legislation for you. You can put it on a piece of bubble gum and they will draft it out. It's your responsibility to be present, to be sure that that legislation is passed, and you also should be there to vote and represent your ward.
Okay, starting with Representative Brent. How would you motivate business owners to maintain their business presence in the ward?
That's actually a really good question. We have to directly tell people what services are available through the city. Like, I brought money home through the state. It's called the Middle Neighborhood Grant that actually went to docks And I don't know if some of you guys were actually there when we presented them with the money, and working with ways that they can have signage, which is lighting signage, and then also making sure that we have systems to make sure it's clean in the front. And so as we try to attract, retain the businesses, it's also important that we emphasize to them that it's important that the business is clean, and also this improving the quality of life within our community. And so they can understand that day one, and then also being a part of our Merchants Association, which we have at the Harvard Community Service Center, and that we also have at the Union Miles Development, and working with them to help promote our businesses.
Mr. Bridges?
When a businessman or woman comes to this ward, it doesn't matter if they're coming from Strongville, North Ridgeville, or Solon. When you put your key in that door to open it, you are a neighbor and responsible to other people in Ward 1. The other thing that we need in this ward is a good streetscape program. I want you to keep in mind, compare what our Lee Road, our business district, looks like to Cleveland Heights Business District. This is terrible. The one thing that we also need here is you need business development. You need a person who can attract the appropriate businesses here. Again, I mentioned earlier, we need to go beyond gas stations and bars here. We don't have any accountants here. We don't have any lawyers here. We don't have any, well, we have some medical practices, but come on. We deserve better than this. One thing, you have to be able to sit down and approach business people. If you don't have that mental and the intellectual capacity, you're not going to get anything here.
Mr. Crosby?
Yes, sir. Because I come from a small business family background, I believe in small businesses being a part of the community. Because the community is very, very, right now, desperate to have services and goods and things like that they don't want to go outside of the community. And I agree with Al about how Cleveland Heights got their set up. So
Mr. Crosby, I'm sorry, we still can't hear you over there.
I'm sorry. Oh, this way. Okay, so we need a real good business development class for the young people, for business owners here, to see how they connect with the community as well as the upkeep of the community. That's my spiel, and that's what's something I feel in my heart.
On this one, I think we're going to start with Mr. Bridges. Currently, in many neighborhoods, it does not seem that residents are included in decisions regarding day-to-day issues and the development of their wards. How would you change this concern?
The best way you address the change, you have to be willing and able to communicate with the residents. That does not occur now. Certain people in this room have been taken off mailing lists. When was the last time anybody in this room received a newsletter from the councilman? I can speak personally. I've been taken off the mailing list because I don't agree with what he does. He takes questions as being dissent. You have to be willing to stand up and listen to people. I go around and you listen to people. You just don't talk to them, you listen to people. I was trained as an arbitrator and mediator. To write awards, you have to be able to listen. I have to understand what your concerns are, and I can carry your concerns back to other communities. What happens in Mount Pleasant probably is going to happen in Lee Harvard. What happens in Leesaville probably is going to happen in Mount Pleasant. You got to be able to listen, and you have to be able to do certain things. We don't have that. I'm one of the few people up here who has done certain things, and we can get to that later.
All right, and then we're going to go to Mr. Crosby.
Communication skills, mentorship, and being able to have a ton of street club representation is the way to keep the community involved, informed, and empowered. And those are the things that I can say over and over and over again. I walk this system all the way over, all the way around to all four corners of this community. You have some great people here. You have some people who are desperate or in despair. We have children that we're losing. We have children that's not getting enough teaching or mentorship. And those are the things that we have to connect with as a leader.
Ready, Ms. Britt? Repeat the question. In many neighborhoods, it doesn't seem that the residents are included in the decisions regarding the day-to-day issues and the development of the ward. How would you change this concern?
So one of the things that people need to be connected with as we talk about communication is what's actually happening at those city council meetings, council as a whole, as well as the committee meetings. Everybody doesn't have time to be watching TV 20, so I need to be bringing back a regular report of what's happening with that, because that's where a lot of decisions and the negotiation is happening at City Hall itself. And then when we talk about decision, no matter if it's somebody trying to develop and put houses on your street that you might not like, everyone on that street in that area should be included, and it should be a notice to everyone in the community to let people know that that is happening. Communication is key, but the great thing about communication, it doesn't happen just one way. We know some of us don't check our mail. Some of us only pick up the phone. Some of us only text. Some of us only use social media. So communication and making sure people feel connected in this space is that it's gonna have to come in different ways and not just one, if we really wanna make sure that all of us as a community members feel connected.
All right, thank you. Beginning with Mr. Crosby. What is the
thing-
purpose
I'm
of...
sorry.
Yeah. You ready?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry about that. Can you explain to us, please, what is the purpose of a ward club? And would you seek to be the leader, the ward leader, if you were elected to the council seat?
You know, I have a passion of having cooperation and friendships and connections with people. So every time I go into the door, I want to invite somebody to go in there with me. So everything I learn, I want someone else to hear or learn so that we can give it to the other people. It's being connected and keep it going, because this is a community. The leadership part is easy. You just practice what you preach. But when you're talking about mentorship and giving it to the other person and getting it from someone who has experience over you, that's where the community begins to get stronger. And that's what I'm into, is to make sure that the community gets stronger. On the political end, I'm gonna do exactly what the people in the community feel is best for them. As I write this legislation or agree to legislation, it has to benefit my community.
Okay, very, very briefly, yes or no, if you're elected to the council seat, would you seek to be the ward leader?
Yes.
Thank you. Representative Brent.
Thank you. So for one, I just want to kind of clarify when we talk about the ward club. The ward club is a kind of like a abbreviation of a Democratic ward club. This is a nonpartisan group, so that has to do with the Democratic Party. That's not, the ward club is not a entity by itself. Now there's community meetings, but the ward club is just an abbreviation for what the Democratic Party does in all the 17 different wards. We just happen to not have one here in Ward 1. Would I want to be the ward club leader for the Democratic Party? No, because I hold another leadership role within the Democratic Party. So I would want us to have somebody that we can lift up that can help on that political side, because that's what the Democratic Ward Club is. It helps stuff on the political side, not the official side.
And Mr. Bridges?
I'm going to answer the easy question first. Would I want to be the ward club leader? No, because it's inherent bias and conflict for the councilman to hold that responsibility. He or she should appoint, more so in my position, I would appoint somebody else and encourage other people to run for that. I participate in a different ward club in a suburb, so I can get information, because we don't get information here. To get participation, yes, we need to create a ward club here. I believe in fairness. That's my life. I believe in fairness. And one thing that the ward club should do, it should be fair. Your precinct people, whoever participates in that ward club should be independent. They should be representing you, should not be representing my interests. They should be representing your interests. That's fair. And anything or anybody who feels or does something different, just my opinion, something's wrong with them. They're not being fair.
Okay, we just have to interrupt real quick, and we wanted to let the audience know that video and photography is being done during this meeting. So if you have an issue with that, please let us know if you do not wish to be on camera. And we're on with the show. So the next question is, with the deterioration of housing and dumping in the community, how will you view code enforcement, and how will you try to enforce those codes? And we're going to start with Representative Brent.
Thank you. Code enforcement is important. It gets back to what I talk about, having a clean community. And the first part of all of this, when we talk about this, is having welcome packets when people move into the community. The great pleasure of being a council person is that you do get to find out when houses are bought in the community and telling people when is the trash day, when is the bulk week, where are ways that you can be able to dump stuff. So we first have to inform people by staying connected, by informing them about what are the cleaning standards, and then also as we send stuff out, is that letting people know what's going to be accepted and what's not going to be accepted, and then also working with our code enforcement. I know one of our code enforcement people work out of the Harvard Community Service Center, and asking them as we walk around the community and drive around the community what that looks like to first make sure people get an adequate warning and how we can better support them, because some people, it's not that they don't want to do it, they don't have the ability to make changes. So we have to first warn them and educate them, and then go on to the next step of what that needs to happen. But everybody has to be informed of the rules. A lot of folks move into our community and don't know, and so they keep on doing what they're doing.
Okay, Mr. Bridges?
Best thing that you can ever do is mimic something that's been done that's good. There's a current councilman by the name of Chris Harsh. He surveyed his entire ward, 8,000 houses over a 3-year period. And he actually sent letters out to each one of the residents who had issues with their property, saying, well, you know, you might want to look at this, you might want to fix this, you might want to address that. I'm going to reiterate something. The council member is not a mini mayor. You have a code enforcement division in City Hall. Let them, you notify them if there's significant issues. That's their responsibility. You shouldn't get into some type of argument with a neighbor. That's not my responsibility, is to argue with you. My responsibility is to assist and help you. You might be at a certain age where you can't do certain things. You might be economically strapped where you can't afford to do certain things. That's where you make programs and information available to residents so that they can take care of issues.
Mr. Crosby?
I just feel that representation is all of our responsibility, whether it be across the street or down the street. Anything happens on my street, we make sure that every resident on that street, when their garbage is spilling over, we let them know. We give them information as to how things should be and make sure that we practice what we preach. So to force anything or any kind of code or anything like that should be communicated with the residents all the time. Because sometimes they may be on vacation or they forget something or they leave a garbage can out too long, and you know, we just have to be a community and continue to serve each other.
All right, Mr. Bridges, let's get down to the nitty-gritty. What committee would you like to serve on if elected, and why?
Did you say committee or committees?
Whichever you prefer.
Committees. Finance, that's where the money flows. Safety, because that's important to everybody in this room. Health, because that's important to everybody in this room, including me. I served as the administrator of Cleveland Public Health Department in the Mike White administration under Daisy Alford. I served as associate dean at Meharry Medical College. I know what health means. I know what health, safety, and finance. Economic development, okay, maybe. But those are my 3 dreams, wishes. And everybody in this room needs to understand something. You put in your dream sheet, it's the council president who says yes or no.
Mr. Crosby.
Business development, health, and finance. Because I want to make sure that I understand where the money is going. I want to make sure that business development is owned by as many people as possible in this community. And I want to make sure that everything is intact in the community as to the way, and we have cooperation from our neighbors on every level.
Representative Brent.
Thank you. So public safety will probably be my #1 pick. I've actually sat on the House Public Safety Committee for the past 7 years for the state of Ohio, where I've seen our prisons, our juvenile detention centers, have done ride-alongs, looked at how our budgets has already been going. So coordinating that experience from the experience on the state level would definitely help me propel to do that. And because safety has been like the #1 concern of listening to everyone when you would talk to people in the community, so that would definitely be a priority. Finance, I know that's also a thing of ranking between the council president on their discretion. So I would hope to be on finance, but I could not guarantee, but I would definitely request to be on that. And the third one would be aging, because I just know it's important that we have someone who's at the table when it comes to, our seasoned community, because we all gonna be seasoned one day, including myself. And so we need people that are at the table to discuss on what it's like to have a quality of life while you age in place.
Okay, don't get comfortable. Hold that mic. We're gonna start with you. New Point is a new CDC serving the Mount Pleasant, Union, Miles communities and other parts of the ward. What type of relationship do you see, if any, with them if you are elected?
I think those relationships are vital with New Point, no matter if it's New Point or the Harvard Community Service Center. Those are the touch points within our community when we talk about economic development. I know they're developing a veteran housing point, and so it's vital that we have those relationships within our community. They're the in-between of, no matter if you're talking about how we can work through our community development dollars. So I just feel like that's all important. Having a regular meeting set up is just the one key part of all of that. It's interesting. You can't talk about being in government if you're not talking to the people who are at the table. They are definitely at the table when it comes to being in our community. But there's not just New Point when it comes to Harvard, Cleveland Ward 1. There's also the Harvard Community Service Center too.
Mr. Bridges?
New Point, once called Union Mile CDC. It's important that you have a relationship and a rapport with the executive director and his or her staff. In this particular instance, it's a her, Rashawn Samples. I know she just recently got married. To utilize the CDC, they do things for you, for our community. We have to start thinking as a ward, not different neighborhoods. As it was mentioned earlier, yes, they are doing veterans housing. It might be that Union Miles or New Point can actually do business development in this ward, potentially better than I. You use the resources that are available to you. You cannot be everything. You can't be. And I'm going to give New Point credit. They do an excellent job. They are actually approved to do work in this ward, but for some reason, they're not utilized.
Mr. Crosby?
Yes, I had the opportunity to be connected with some of the people in Newport and some of the things that they're trying to come up with, especially for veterans. I'm definitely in sync with. But it's a lot of the housing things that we have going on around us that we definitely want to make sure New Point get a hold of, because it's not happening to be able to bring new people in the community, which some of my family members are trying to move over here even now. So I like to see what Newport can do going forward.
Along those lines, I would be remiss if I didn't ask this question. Again, my name is Don McGee from the Miles Heights Development Corporation, and we represent our friends and neighbors in the Lisaville neighborhood. And I was wondering, when we talk about resources and we talk about CDBG and we talk about what others can bring to the table, what would be your take, if elected, on working with newer organizations who are here to do some really important work? Starting with you, Mr. Crosby.
If they do the work, I'm ready for them. If it has anything to do with the community, I'm excited. I just love to see this place come to the form it needs to be, a competitive African-American community like the other four in this United States. We don't have one, we need to get one. Cleveland is this one is the only one in Cleveland that can be developed.
Representative Brent?
There's always going to be newer organizations. The first thing is making sure this new organization aligns with what I'm hearing from the people in our ward, because we always have people who might want to drop in and drop out, and we into committed relationships. So you might be new, but you might not be committed. So the first conversation is, what is your level of commitment, and what is that going to look like long term to work within the community? Because anybody could show up and be your new boo, but don't mean your boo is trying to stay with you. So we are looking for committed and making sure that aligns with our community.
Mr. Bridges?
It's important to do what's called due diligence. As the gentleman mentioned, he's a new organization. Well, you might give him a little something to do, and if he's successful at that, you give him half of something to do. And if he's successful at that, you give him something bigger to do. For lack of better terms, you don't give a new CDC, a $20 million project. You might give them a $200,000 project. If they perform up to standard, then they can continue to come at the table. I think one of the things that's important, not only in this ward, but the city of Cleveland, there's some brilliant people in this room. We don't use the resources that we have. We want to go out of town to get somebody to do something. And they're right here in this room. You know, there's some young people in here. I know them. You can put that sign down. Let me just finish. Okay, I'll come back.
We do have to be respectful of the rules, but thank you.
Okay. What would be your plan to handle the out-of-town property owners that do not maintain their properties in our ward? And with that one, we're going to start back with Mr. Bridges. Don't go over time now.
I won't. One of the things that we have to acknowledge, there are people who live out of town or who used to live in Cleveland, potentially this ward, who have the resources to buy property. And we can create an LLC in here. And I would suggest if you own property or rental property, that's what you do. That protects your personal assets. What can we do to enforce it? You know, there's this big building called 601 Lakeside called City Hall. I don't have a gun and a badge, and I do not have authority to say or do certain things. You have to keep the mayor's staff informed and on task for what they are supposed to be doing. That also moves that potential case into housing court. That's how you manage out-of-town, quote-unquote, investors or LLCs or property owners. That's how you do it. You can knock on all the doors you want, but you better use the resources that are available to you. Okay, I can restop.
Mr. Crosby.
I'm with Al on that one, and I think we should go further, even more so in the legal form, as well as the enforcement form, to make sure that these people who are owning houses abroad don't get a hold of our land and our houses that's in our community.
All right, Ms. Brent.
The first thing, and I've actually talked to a lot of people about this, is a point of sale. The difference between Cleveland and all the cities around us is that they have a point of sale, which is a standard to even buy a home. So if you're trying to sell a home, it has to be at a certain standard of what the appearance is. Does it have are the steps fixed? Are the windows looking like this? We don't even have a point of sale. So we're looking for a preventative measure. Let's first, and what I do plan on doing, if blessed enough to be your city council person, is introducing that to address that. But then also, after to deal with the current owners right now, is making sure that everyone in this ward has ways of communication of turning in complaints about your neighbor that you think might be 100 years old, you haven't seen her in a long time, the house is overgrown with stuff. What is a formal way to make a complaint to the city? A lot of us don't even know that. The most we are sometimes are hearing is people sharing information about each other, but making sure that people are connected with the necessary information and tools is the first step, and then making sure that I'm, as a council person, is sending that out regularly, like, hey, if you have a concern, this is the information to send it out.
Thank you. Mr. Crosby, what will you do to improve the cleanliness on Lee Road? And the question goes further to say, coming off of 480 and hitting Lee Road, it is bad news.
Well, the first thing, we just, with whatever laws there are available, we have to enforce them. That's number one. Number two, we gotta make sure that because it's coming off the freeway, it has to be clean all the time. I know when I come out that way or going that way, going into Maple Heights, it's more cleaner than some of the other streets in the Lee Road area. But we need to put more things in there because we have a park there. A lot of people like to go to the park. Me and my wife like to walk and run, and I want to be able to walk through Lee Road in that area and be able to see cleanliness and see the cars running and seeing the people enjoying themselves.
Mr. Bridges?
One of the resources that are available to the councilman, you can use community court services, the police, that's a military term, to clean up Lee Road. Also, I'm going to put some of the emphasis on the current business owners. Like I said, when you turn that key, you become my neighbor. I expect you to keep the front of your business clean and debris free, just like I keep my tree line and my neighbor's line. We have to use the resources. Plus, we have to be better neighbors to each other. Yeah, I know sometimes. Oh, I get to stop already? Oh, I'm dyslexic. That says pots. It doesn't say stop. One of the things that's important.
We do have to stick to the rules of the committee. That was a 30-second? Okay, so sorry. Please continue.
We have to become better neighbors to each other. I believe in what I call the 4 Square program. You have to know your neighbors on your driveway side, the other side, when you back out your driveway, the people across the street, and another house. If you don't know them by 4 Square, I don't mean you have to be buddy-buddy, but you should know them. I go and pick up packages for my neighbors. I do snow blowing for my neighbors. I help my neighbors fix their house. I'm not saying everybody needs to be like me, but please, take care of your community, take care of your property and your home.
So when we talk about cleanliness of Lee Road, I hate that we just using just Lee Road because we want all of our streets to be clean, not just Lee Road. But one of the things that I've actually been pushing for the longest is the Lee Road corridor that brings in Maple Heights as well as Shaker Heights and Cleveland Heights, and just putting emphasis on how we could all work together. When we were trying to emphasize this on the state level, Cleveland was the only part that did not want to be included with it. So even working with trying to get something clean, like we have to have buy-in from, you know, our mayors or our council president to make sure that Lee Road itself is that, and then also even using community block grants to make sure that we have people who are properly cleaning the streets. No different than how you go downtown and you have people that come and clean the streets all the time, and then working with our business owners to make sure that they have the proper resources, no matter if it's trash bins that are on the streets that are very pretty and decorative, but ways that people can drop off trash as they're walking through the community, and just being intentional about that and letting people know the days that they're gonna come and clean the streets on Lee Road.
Okay, the next question is one that's near and dear to my heart about arts and culture. So currently in Ward 1, we do not have an infrastructure for any arts and culture communities to be thriving in any form. What will you do to help improve that beyond the enforcement of creating murals consistently? We'll start with Ms. Brent.
So just had a meeting a little bit earlier this year with the Cleveland Institute of Art. They have these wonderful students that are always creating natural ways that you can use art in everyday life, no matter if it's a creative way to have a trash can that doesn't look like the traditional trash can, or no matter if you're working with the RTA to make sure that your bus stop is more than just that. So art is not just something you put up on a wall. Art should be everything that we see around us all the time. So as long as we are making sure that things are clean, having art will just flow into place with things like that. Also working with Cleveland State, they also have a great program where you can loan out students to come to the community and include things that will include what our quality of life of how things are incorporated. And so I've just seen so many different projects that have been utilized in other parts of Cleveland as well as other cities that are around us where they're utilizing the Cleveland Institute of Art as well as Cleveland State University when it comes to those students that can be loaned out to us for that.
Go ahead, Mr. Crosby.
I'm a nut for a jazz club, I tell you that now. I'm looking at the parking lot over there where they riding their bikes everywhere in the shopping plaza, putting a art place right next door as well as a jazz club up in there so we can enjoy ourselves and get the best of music and art.
Mr. Bridges?
Children like to be creative. Find me a kid that doesn't like to draw on the walls. If you stifle a child's creativity, you're stifling their growth. Not only do we need arts programs, we need music programs. It's just not to tie up a kid's time so that they don't go out and do bad things. We have to let our children be creative. We are creative people. I played 3 instruments all the way through high school. I can't draw a straight line, though, even with a ruler. But there are kids out here. We have to give our children opportunities to excel and exceed. And some of that comes through the arts program. You'd be surprised what will happen when you let a child just use his or her mind. And it can come through the Arts Institute, it can come through Tri-C, it can come through Cleveland State. But even with the new CDC, they might be able to run the program. Fund it. If you believe in it, you fund it.
Thank you. Mr. Bridges, will stay with you. Another question from one of the residents. When we purchased our home 25 years ago, there weren't many bars or stores that sell liquor or smoke products. And quite simply, the question is, what are your plans?
My plans are simple. They're direct, but they're hard. Your council member has to participate in the planning and zoning meetings. They tell you what's going in that building. So when somebody tells you, I didn't know there was no smoke there, that ain't true. My parents would be mad because I said ain't, okay? We have to be vigilant in our community. That's what's important. This is a bedroom community. We work here, we go to sleep, come back, go to work. You need a council member who's going to be present, and sometimes, you know what the best answer is? No. No, we're not doing that in Ward 1. For those of you who live on Harvard and 175th, I pray for y'all every day, if not the weekend. We need to stop this madness. Have somebody who's vigilant.
Representative Brent?
Thank you. The concerns about liquor permits, one, we're going to start with being connected by educating people how you dry up your own precinct. So educating people on that and seeing what is the appetite for those who are close to things, I think that's very important. Then also, too, just understanding the goals of businesses and getting people to those meetings at City Hall when it comes time to allow a permit to come. I went with Pastor Quincy as well as some other members in our community when they were trying to allow a liquor permit in our community. I've even went to the state meetings where I've sat on the board when it came to people getting time for a liquor permit. You need to know when those meetings are happening because you're gonna wanna show up and they will allow you as community members to actually say something. What happens and becomes really sad is that the past couple ones, they've been virtual and we don't hardly have people that come. So we have to make sure that people are connected to know so we can be able to advocate like a fist and not a bunch of fingers of being connected when it comes to what's happening in our community. And last but not least, as we talk about safety, having people, the numbers for our police district so they can be able to, you can make those phone calls about what you're seeing in the community when things happen with the liquor permits.
Mr. Crosby?
Yes, sir. I don't know exactly how permits are given to people for liquor sales, but I do know that these small buildings and these little small areas that liquor is being sold, you just have people hanging out. And for that itself, we need to do something a little bit better so that they can either have an expansion of the land that they're on or even just having security, if not police protection.
And we just have a few more questions. We have a question about the upcoming generation. How are you going to tackle the lack of the support for the nonprofits that have services for the youth that are not getting the support that they need? Mr. Crosby?
Yes, I think that these nonprofits that's coming inside of the community don't have our best interest at heart. I'm just gonna say that.
We
They
have a
don't
lot of them
the
in
best-
the community, though.
They don't have the best interest at heart for our children. We have to take some type of responsibility for those type of programs. I ran a nonprofit, so I know sending a cat or a kid or a dog or even a person to any type of thing outside of the community. Just like we had 2 dogs that had cancer and didn't have cancer, but they died. Okay, because we sent them somewhere to be serviced outside of the community. I have a problem with sending my child somewhere to be serviced for a mental health issue or any health issue if it's not in the community where I live at. So that's just something that's serious to me.
Okay, just for clarification, we're talking about the nonprofits that are in our community. We have several nonprofits that work with the youth within our community.
We,
Right. I just wanted to clarify that for the next. Okay. Go ahead, Ms. Brent.
So how we support people is having them connected with information. I've worked with actually multiple nonprofits when they actually came in and said something to me as a state representative, and no matter if it's getting them federal dollars or state dollars, and just saying this is the process on how you can get money. And then also just trying to say, like, how can I use my leverage of, on the government level, we have a listserv of all the constituents. You can use my listserv if you're trying to get in contact with people. So that's keeping people connected with the resources we already have. We don't want to have to send our kids far. We don't want to, and so we want to connect people with nonprofits that are already working successfully, but then also asking for reports about what they're doing. So if they say they're successful, they should also have a report to go along with it so we can continue supporting them long term. But we want folks that want to serve our community, specifically Ward 1, and not just serving, but making sure, and also making sure the community knows what nonprofits that are available. That's why it's important for folks to have newsletters to keep people connected. And so that can just work within a cycle, a system of getting them funded, making sure people are communicating with, and make sure I'm advocating for them to have funding also.
Let's make the world perfect for a minute in Ward 1. If you have an agency or an organization that provides those type of services, if you believe in them, you fund it, and you fund it, and you support it. If you do those 3 things, you should also have the ability to go back and check what they're doing. You just don't throw money at a problem. That's one of the worst things you can do. You just don't throw money at a problem. You give money to people or organizations that are successful. There's not going to be a full gamut of services offered in Ward 1, even in a perfect world. There's certain things that, let's say, the Harvard Community Services Center does, New Point, or this gentleman's CDC does. We have to utilize those services, and then if we look and say we have behavioral health issues that we're sending to the west side, then maybe somebody can create that, or we build that program at the Lee Harvard Community Services Center. Just don't throw money just because somebody's there. You also have to check.
All right. Representative Brent, very important question. How do we build a community of homeowners?
Oh, I love that question. So one of the things that I have been fighting for and actually got money for in the state budget is for Habitat for Humanity. If anybody's familiar with Habitat for Humanity, they go and repurpose or build houses in the community. And the key thing about them is that the mortgages are affordable. You know, on average, those mortgages are about $700, and the city of Cleveland is able to invest into making sure that we uplift programs like that so they can build houses in our community. We already got good stock in our community, and we already have communities that just need a little bit of uptick of renovation. And so I really look forward to being the council person so I can be able to put money towards a Habitat for Humanity for those blights within our community so that we don't have out-of-state people buying them, but it's us in the community, your children who are looking for a home. I want them to stay right here with affordable mortgage through programs like that.
Mr. Bridges.
The key term is affordable homes. The average or median salary in the city of Cleveland is about $35,000. I rounded it up. If you make $35,000, you cannot afford, you're not going to get a mortgage for a $400,000 home. You hear market rate, but nobody ever says community rate homes. Yes, Habitat homes, they can do that, but there's only so much. I'm going to use a biblical term. Ye who owns the land has the wealth. We own the land. These vacant properties, we can do what we can do to make those properties, that land affordable to build a home on it. Yeah, there's homes going up in this area in Ward 1. $350,000 homes. And I don't know about you, I'm not moving. I'm 26, that's a stretch, okay? I'm not moving. The average person in this room is not going to buy a home.
Sorry, Mr. Crosby.
I'm interested in marketing and bringing the best and some of the people who really, really want to be a part of a community. And we're trying to do that even today, to bring people over here to live in this community and be able to enjoy a community that's going to give them their house or sell them their house at a market right, fair rate. And that's the problem that we're having right now. We have so many empty houses because they're just so expensive, even if they're not even fixed up.
Okay, we have this question that came in specifically for Representative Brent. They want to know, why are you changing positions?
So that's always a good question. Why am I changing positions? I've been at the State House, and we know the State House is like a prison yard. It's been hand-on-hand combat. And one thing I realized so many times is that no matter if we talk about the minimum wage not passing at the state, is because the city of Cleveland said we didn't want communities to be able to make decisions when it came to the minimum wage. No matter if it's now the state does not allow elected school board, is because the state first saw it happen within the city of Cleveland of not having an elected school board. So I'm always seeing so many things that has been done on the city level that the state, with their very problematic self, is doing copy and paste, and then they're looking back at the city of Cleveland, or even at the Crown Act, which I've introduced multiple times. They say, well, Cleveland can't pass the Crown Act, which deals with hair discrimination. Why should we? So for us to be able to take on what's happening on a state level, on a federal level, we first got to make some changes, particularly here, and that's why I'm running, because I realize to make sure our neighborhood is clean, safe, and connected, we got to start back on what happened on the municipal level first.
Thank you. And then this is the last question on my side. I think Don has one more question before we close out. What are your solutions for crime reduction? We start with Mr. Bridges.
Crime reduction, interesting question. One of the things that's important, you have to have a presence of patrol officers on the streets. Now, if everybody left their home and had a patrolman with them, there's no crime. But we know that's impossible. One of the other things that's important, if you follow statistics, if your unemployment rate is high, your crime rate goes up. If your salaries or compensation in the city are low, your crime rate goes up. One of the things we also have to do to help crime reduction, the government has to be in a position to create an environment to bring better paying jobs here. We also have to improve the Cleveland public school system. If I can't read, I'm going to rob you to go to Burger King to get the $2 for $5 deal. We have to improve the social environment. Go ahead and hit the hammer.
Mr. Crosby.
In my opinion, it's cameras and making sure that they have signs on there that the laws will be enforced. We have a lot of drug dealers coming up in our area. I have cameras all around my house. I can see everything coming. The computer can log everything, and if I want to send it to the police department, this program. So with all that being said, we just have to take more responsibility. Just in case, I'm sorry, this thing keep coming off. Thank you. Just in case when we talk about crime prevention, we must share with our neighbors what's going on in the neighborhood. That's my point. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. So, and what I was saying about making sure we have being safe and connected, one is when people move in or existing people move in, what are the numbers for the non-emergency numbers? What are the numbers like if you hear loud noises? And it's important to call the council person, but it's also be able to empower people to do that. And also having regular meetings with the commanders. Our commanders work hard. They're here in our community all the time and be able to have their actual presence. 3 is working with the business communities. If they have special nights that's going on in the community, encourage them to hire, off the clock police officers for those special events so they can already be in the books. We know some people have larger events than normal, and they should be paying for police services, not the city covering for it when something happens. So that helps preventative type of things too. And then also having more career fairs within our community of meeting people where they're at. There are a lot of trades that are here in the community that would actually love to come to Cleveland Ward 1, but they have not been included or invited to come in that capacity. So we gotta meet people where they're at and making sure that people have good paying jobs.
All right. For our last question, we're going to go, we started in alphabetical order, we're going to go in reverse alphabetical order. And a very important question. Why did you think it was important to attend this meeting tonight? Mr. Crosby.
In my view, to see the people in the community to get the feel as to what it is in the community. So to get the feel as to what they would like to see and what they want in the community, to let the community know that I'm definitely a community person. Although I can go and do the legislation thing and make sure that we all agree on what has to happen in the community, but at the end of the day, we got to have a safe and prosperous community, and that's what I'm looking for.
Mr. Bridges.
Would you repeat the question for me and everybody else, please?
Yes. Why did you think it was important to attend this meeting tonight?
It's important for me to attend this meeting tonight because when you look at the campaign literature or websites or the newspaper, you hear this name, Alwyn. You hear this strange name, not Alvin, not Allen. You needed to hear me. I needed to hear you. You needed to see me. You see, I know how to dress professionally. Presence is important. Appearance is important. I represent you. That's the most important thing. That's something I will take to my grave that my parents taught me. They said, the most important thing that you have is your name. Be present. And if you commit, I'm committed to you. This is not a job, it's a commitment. I'm a servant.
Representative Brent.
Thank you. So the reason why I'm here, no different than any time I'm here in the community, this is a community. You have to show up when you want to be able to serve. And so you can't say that you want to do this and you're not showing up for these different community events. There are a lot of candidates events with Cleveland Ward 1 candidates going on tonight, but the most important one is the one that's actually happening in our community. So that's why I'm here, because out of all the candidates events that's going on right now, this is the only one that's actually happening here in Cleveland Ward 1. And this is going to be to set the precedence of, I'm always going to be here. I ain't scared of nobody. So if you want to see me, I'm going to show up. I'm going to give you my cell phone number. I'm going to give you my information, and I'm going to show up, and we're going to have real conversations here within the community. And that's what you're supposed to do. If you can't do that as a candidate, you're definitely not going to do that when you're elected to office, because it's easy to run away or not show up for different events and have different excuses for things. But if you intentionally want to serve the people, you're going to make adjustments to your schedule. We all have different things that we could do, but I chose to be here tonight. Thank you.
Okay, we're going to give the candidates a couple of minutes to wrap up and give out their closing remarks. And we can start with Mr. Crosby.
My name is Mark Crosby. I live in Ward 1. I've been here for over 20 years. I love this place. I have a lot of skills to be able to work with business development as well as other things and servicing our children and providing certain things for the community when it comes down to any type of program model that we need for mental health or anything else in that capacity. We just have to be careful right now because we're in the political climax that is very serious, taking a lot of things out of the community right before our eyes. So we have to be conscious of that and come together. Thank you.
Ms. Brent.
Being, a clean, safe, and connected Cleveland is what I got from walking around and talking to people and listening to people here in the community. I want to be able to serve in that same capacity if I'm blessed to be elected, no matter if it's making sure that we are supporting our street clubs, making sure we are communicating with people in different forms or fashions of what communication looks like, making sure that people have access to our 4th District commander and information like that, and bringing it to the community and not just having our community meetings in one place. It's all 5 different communities and bringing that information to all 5 different communities and make sure we also emphasize on clean communities and working with different communities, different areas to make sure we emphasize on cleanliness, and then working with different parts of government. If we're trying to bring money, we need to work with the federal, state, and local government to make sure we bring resources, which has not been happening to the capacity we would like for it to, because people aren't having those type of conversations. I will continue to have those conversations that I've been having on the state level. I want to do that for Cleveland Ward 1. Thank you.
Mr. Bridges.
Well, first off, I would like to thank everybody for being here. I've taken 3 oaths in my life. One as a federal officer, the second as a Navy officer, and then the last one, I worked at the White House. I had 2 White House assignments. One as a Navy officer, one as a civilian. I've worked with children. I used to come back here and tutor kids when I was in college. I worked with children, adults, helping them go through medical school at Meharry Medical College. I've lectured at Howard. I ran a program. I thought I got 3 minutes. I ran a program at Maryland. What's important to me, it's not about me. This is about you. You have the power. Your decision determines, your vote determines your character and integrity. That's this is about you. This isn't about me. It's not about anybody else sitting up here. This is about you.
Okay, we would like to thank our candidates for coming out and participating tonight in this important forum and their willingness to run for this office for the prestigious Ward 1.
Let's give them a round of applause. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
We want to say good luck to all of the candidates, and we'd like to thank the William Sanders Family Life Center for allowing us to use the facility tonight. We thank you for coming out, for the audience, and for reminding all of you to go and vote on November 4th and take a friend with you. Remember, information is power. That power is knowledge, and your knowledge can lead to the vote that will change Ward 1.
Hold on, please. If anybody neighbors who didn't get to be here tonight, they can go to our YouTube channel and see the recording of this. And it's what, Lee?
So you can also go to vote411.org for information regarding voting. And the League of Women Voters website is LWV.GreaterCleveland.org. And of course, you can go to the Board of Elections, which is, I believe, is boecuyahoga.gov. I should know this, but that's it.
So encourage anyone to watch this. We recorded it. It'll be on our website. Thank y'all. Oh, and anybody who didn't register, could you please stop on your way out? Thank you.